All right, we're jumping right into this one by ripping down a bunch of material for drawer fronts, the floating panels, and then the face frame and side frames. From there, we're going to move on and cut down a bunch of plywood for the cabinet carcass and drawer boxes. Alright, so unfortunately I forgot to record the glue up of the carcass. Luckily it was pretty uneventful, but unfortunately that is good footage to catch with the time lapse. Anyway, the way it worked, I made this small sub-assembly in the top first. Essentially use clamps to pull these pieces together, drove some screws in through the top where they won't be seen because there'll be a hardwood top on over top of it. And then same with the sides, I laid the whole cabinet down on its face. Got these pieces in, clamped everything together temporarily with clamps, and then drove in screws from the outside to keep it all held together. Once again, this will all get covered up with a side panel. And then in my haste yesterday, I forgot to drill pocket holes before I put the cabinet together, so I had to do that after the fact. I did catch some video of that. One thing to note here, kind of an odd looking piece missing from the back of the cabinet. This is where a little pop-up charging station's got a little pop-up power dock, charge dock's going to go. So that's going to sit towards the back here. It's going to be sitting on the top of the hardwood top, and this will sneak out the back of the cabinet and go down to an outlet. So now that this is all this is together, I'm going to turn my attention back to the panels that'll go in the framing panel on the sides. So I have a whole bunch of stock that I resawed yesterday, and I'm going to now finish milling that up and glue those panels together, and then I'll turn my attention back to the cabinet here and start doing the face frame. Here we go. All right, so got the face frame here put together. I did have an issue driving one of the screws in the driving one of the box screws. Ended up cracking the face frame, so I could have recut a piece, which would have been the quickest way. Unfortunately, these front pieces for the front of the cabinet all came from the same board. They got the very same color, same wood or same grain pattern. Using a board from a different piece of lumber, it would have been close, but would have had a little bit different color, different grain. I wouldn't have liked it, so I tried patching it. First, I flipped the board around. It was up here, and now it's down here in the bottom, where it's going to be less visible, down near the ground. I tried patching it with a dowels. That screwed up the grain pretty bad. In hindsight, I probably should have just stuck with that and made the interior edge look as best as possible. So then I said, well, I'll make a little patch. I'll cut out a section of this, glue a small chunk in here. That kind of looked like crap. And so I then had to make the patch even bigger to try it again because I didn't like I had a little bit of a gap on the glue line and the grain wasn't that great of a match. So on my second patch here, it's in the clamps now. I think it's going to be pretty good. So that's drying. While I did that this morning and glued that on and it's drying, I did sand up my panels for the sides of the cabinet. And so those have been sanded to 60 just to flatten them out, get the glue off there. I'm now going to move on to making the actual side frames. So there'll be, 3 horizontal pieces, 2 vertical pieces. All right, so working on the side panels here, got the frame of the side panels all cut to size, cut the length, got the grooves milled in for the floating panel, and then got the stub tens cut. The fit off the saw was pretty good. Just had to do a little bit of cleanup and then one little pass with the shoulder plane, and nice fit. Get that out of there. And so I also did a dry fit of the side panels just to confirm what the floating panel size should be. So I got those written down. I'm going to cut these to size next to the table saw and then cut a rabbet in the back. So this panel's a little thicker than 1/4 inch, so got to cut a little rabbet in the back so it fits in the groove I cut. And then update on the face frame. I got the patch done. It took quite a bit of time, but here's one side. And then here's the other that's been patched. Looks pretty good on the front and on the inside. I got a little gap on the back here, but that's going to be up against the carcass, so not a big deal there. Got that wrapped up. And so like I said, I'm going to move on to cutting the floating panels to size. Going to do that table saw. Here we go.
So at this stage, I've already have some slots cut in the top of the cabinet carcass, and I put the hardwood top on there, traced where those slots were at, and now I'm coming back and drilling and installing some threaded inserts, which is what will hold the hardwood top onto the cabinet carcass. And then I'll set this back on the cabinet and get some of the bolts started. And I'm trying to figure out where that hole for the little USB power outlet goes, so those holes are aligned with each other in the cabinet carcass and the top. And the very last stages here is a lot of sanding. This is, I think, going over it with 220, and then I hit it all with water to raise the grain, let that all dry, hit it again with 220, and then it's time to start spraying some polyurethane.